Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Meeting of the Young County Commissioners Court, Monday, January the 13th, 2014. It is about 9:32. Make note that this meeting has been posted as for the manner and the time required as per 551 Government Code. And all members of the court are present. If it's convenient for you, please rise. Have our invocation and pledge by Commissioner Watt.
Let's pray. Father, we come today just thanking you and praising you for another day, Lord. We just thank you for this opportunity together. Father, we just ask that you be present in the meeting today, Father. I just pray, Lord, for your guidance and direction in all that we say and all that we do, Father. Be with those around us that are sick, Father. I just pray, Lord, that you have your hand upon them. Be with those that are traveling. Father, we ask God, Lord, this in your precious name. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, please be seated. Public comments, announcements, and presentations. Item number 3, you have in your packet a letter from Care Flight. Thanking us for our membership. Also, there's a letter from the Texas Veterans Commission that acknowledges Wayne Collins' education and performance and accolades him, I guess, in a manner of speaking. Are there anything else that members of the court or the public might be aware of that we might need to announce or present to the court? Nothing else, we'll move on to item 4. Consider the county clerk minutes of the previous meeting, December the 23rd, 2013. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions that need to be made in the minutes? If done, I'll ask for a motion to approve minutes.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Wiley and a second by Commissioner Rogers to approve those minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. 5-0, no opposition. Item number 5, consider updates on security. We have in the packet a listing of securities from now Sierra Bank, along with First National Bank.
$1,741,490 over reg.
Have a motion by Commissioner Wiley. Is there a second? Approve those as presented. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0, no opposition. Second. Commissioner Sykes. Item number 6, county auditor's budget amendments. Any? No budget amendments. Item number 7, voucher payments.
Total $146,106.22. The largest part being on the general, which is $120,009.48.
So moved on that.
Have a motion by Commissioner Wiley, a second by Commissioner Rogers to approve the vouchers payable as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0, no opposition. Item number 8, consider extension agent. We have Brad Morrison and Penny Warren, but Penny Warren's report's not in, so this will just be in consideration of Brad Morrison's request for reimbursement of $748.62. Motion by Commissioner Pruitt, second by Commissioner Rogers to approve this reimbursement as presented for Brad Morrison. All in favor? Carried 5-0-1.
I had an email from Penny Warren, I didn't print it, I just assumed, I need to see if it's a report. I'll run and check on that right quick.
We have it.
We've got it, it just didn't get, she didn't get it in the time, it's gonna get
Okay, well, if
listed
y'all
up here.
approve it, we could do a live check on it.
She was back.
Hey, whatever, I haven't even looked at it.
I think she just said, let's put it on the next one, what she asked, so
Okay.
we'll just put it on the next meeting. Item number 9, consider Young County Appraisal District request for refunds. We have Randall Sumter, $275.13, that's an incorrect assessment. Travis Caudill for $307.66, also incorrect assessment. Herring Ranches LTD, Grand Lake exemption, that's an over 65 exemption, I believe. And then Ronnie Robertson for $520.49 for a double assessment.
One second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Sykes to approve those requests for refunds as requested. All in favor? Carried 5-0. One opposition. Item number 10, review CAD Board of Directors election. You'll have in the packet there I guess you'd call it a report or a reconciliation of the votes and those that were elected to the Board of Directors of the Young County Appraisal District. Those being Worth Gregg, Ed Graham, Mark McClellan, Forrest Meacham, and Spencer Street. Young County granted its vote, its total of 1,115 votes to its nominee, Forrest Gregg. I think that's just a matter of review. I don't think any action is necessary on that. Item number 11, discuss and consider rock pit referee, Mr. Matt Pruitt.
Yes, sir. I talked to Mark Ellis with Zach Burkett. He says that rock pit over in Breckenridge is half theirs because they do crush the rock over there for them. And said it was fine with them if we use them ever so often, because they are affiliated with Zach Burkett. But I wanted to take them before you guys before I started using them.
Or the Zach Burkett Company.
No, they just don't have their stock or whatever.
Well, does Zach Burkett own half the stock or does Mark Ellis?
No, Zach Burkett, not Mark. But you know Mark works for Zach.
Well,
Mark is part of this.
Right.
well,
He was talking to me as a Zach Burkett employee. So,
stay on that $6 bid though.
yeah. And I checked it out. It's gonna be the same. It'll cost me the same as if I was coming out here to this pit and bringing it back to Murray Circle, as it would if I went to Breckenridge and brought it to Murray Circle, the miles. And I was averaging about $4 a gallon in diesel.
I'll defer that, to the auditor on that.
I've never had this situation. come up, I mean, because we would be paying a different company, I mean, I don't know, but
Well, you know, I have no problem with it, except if they're not under the umbrella of the Zach Burke Company. Could be outside of an emergency, would be kind of hard to do, or, you know,
I don't guess they could bill it for exactly.
Oh, I mean, we could take one tonight and talk to Mark again.
Okay, okay, some mark the holler and
Yeah.
whatever, yeah. Okay, I mean, I don't have a problem if it's, you know, same price and you're closer, but, you know, we did accept the bid from Zach Burkett.
But it's an affiliate of Zach Burkett, that's all it is. And like you said, they can go to Zach.
but if they were underneath the umbrella of the Zach Burke Company, they'd be called Zach Burke. Just like Rock Pit, that's actually owned. I mean, they've got some kind of arrangement where they can operate under that umbrella of Zach Burke. Like the paving company, there was no all of it.
Right.
Owned and operated and all that, but individual or group of individuals, but they operate underneath that umbrella, operating.
They pay to do that too.
Do what?
They pay to do that.
Yeah, they do. They, that work in the benefit of all of those companies in some form or fashion under the agreement that they have to utilize that umbrella.
I'll talk to Mark.
Okay.
See.
They could bill through Zach Burkett, there wouldn't be a problem at all.
They'll have to satisfy the audit from now, I think, on that question.
I just wanted to let you guys know, so you wouldn't think anything bad. We'll table, or,
Okay, got a motion to table. Item number 11. Mr. Pruitt. Is there a second?
I'll say,
All right. All in favor?
that,
All opposition. Item number 12, no, we're gonna skip item number 12. That's something that's not relevant. That's a report that's turned into the county auditor. Item number 13, discuss energy contracts with different companies, including ELO through TIPS. Mr. Larry Settle.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Visiting with your auditor, I took the liberty, let me get it out here, of going out and checking out the different prices for electricity that are coming up for this year. Where y'all come out of contract on 2 different units. You come out of contract for the Alany stuff in June
Correct.
and the stuff here in October. So y'all need to start looking at it. So what I did, I went out to the different companies that would bid on y'all's load through TIPS and said, we need to get a price. So I bid it as far as all of the different providers that answered us would go out as far as, you know, for as many months as they would. So if you'll look there, we went through from Affordable, Champion, Con Ed, Constellation, Direct, Green Mountain, TXU, Celez, and then Cavallo. Cavallo at the bottom, in the deal it said, it should be the GLO, that stands for the General Land Office. Cavallo represents the Texas General Land Office for their energy program. So they even bid, but I want you to look at the very bottom on the 60-month, and this will give you an idea. They're saying that Reliant bid like a 5 cent per kilowatt hour. Cavallo on the hub, and I'll explain all this, bid a 5.3, so it's 5.3 cents per kilowatt hour. And then they also bid a meter This is confusing to a lot of people about how prices are given by these energy companies to the different entities. Hub stands for the area of which you're in. The hub for this area, most of the energy is considered out of the Dallas-Fort Worth hub. But you're at the very end of the line. So then they have what they call congestion charges. What does it cost to get it there? And then that goes to the meter charge. All the energy companies never bid to the meter. They bid to the hub. So you have an extra charge that comes through that they always add to the bill that's in there. So just like on the Cavallo, on the hub, that means to the meter right here on the building, for instance, this building, it would be 6 cents. Now, the other advantage to going to the Cavallo or the GLO bid is that you do not pay certain taxes that are assessed by all the other energy companies. Since it is a state entity, they do not charge gross receipts tax. We'll save you another 2.18% on energy charges. But these were all the prices that were quoted as of Friday at noon. Everything changes, which I've told Mr. Sykes, the judge knows, I'm sure all of you know. Energy is traded every 15 minutes, so every day prices change. Right now, this morning, I got a hold of my office in Dallas. Prices went up over the weekend because of natural gas prices. Now, that could change tomorrow, too, but it went up about almost 2 mils this morning were the original quotes there. The thing that I wanted y'all to be aware of, I mean, y'all have gone through TXU, I think the last
5 years?
5 or 6 years, you can get better pricing than just going after one entity. And what I did is I made all of them compete for y'all's energy. So I basically became your purchasing agent to go out and get them to bid on the prices. But it's something y'all need to start thinking about. You can go from 12-month contracts, just like it shows, all the way up to a 60-month contract. Some reasons people like to go as far out as possible is because it's price assurity and you know what you're going to be paying from now on for 5 years. Some people want to gamble. The shorter the contract, usually the cheaper. You would think it would be just opposite. But the reason they won't do that anymore is because they're hedging the gas futures for all the way out there. They don't know.
Before just looking at this, would you not say that Reliant in 36 months would be your best bet?
Reliant is very good. The only problem about Reliant is on the credit watch. When the hurricane hit down there, Reliant almost went under. TXU's under a credit watch.
Is Reliant not a subsidiary?
I'm sorry?
Is Reliant? No, they're not. I'm thinking about Lebanon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But TXU has even gone through, they're on a credit watch because they've had some bad problems. So, I mean, I look at everything. I'm not saying it's not that's a good idea to do something like that. But if they were to file bankruptcy, then y'all get thrown in a risk pool. And then you're thrown into the daily rate. That happened to 2 or 3 companies within the past 3 years. Reliant was not one. Reliant's a big company, but they just had some problems.
Did you not receive anything or solicit anything from the public P3, public power pool?
Public power pool is, they do what I'm trying to do. They basically were they said you're aggregating. And they work strictly for Reliant. We work, the way I do it, I don't work for anyone. I just try to find the best deal. That's what I just did for Erath County. We got Erath counties down, now it was a shorter term contract, but we got theirs down in the 5.1 cent range.
I need more information on what you got here. You said best value. Okay, you're showing us the best prices.
best prices.
What is the best?
Okay, well, as I say, I mean,
None of these companies do anything but bill you for the electricity
that's
you use.
all they do.
They don't provide any service, they don't hang any
Right.
wires, they don't do.
No, see, TXU is protected in your area for wires, what they call transmission wires. So it's still, you're buying energy from TXU because they're protected and their part is regulated. It's not deregulated. So they have a fixed price. They know they're gonna make money. All the other providers do not, even the GLO contract, the General Land Office. They buy energy at a huge discount, and all the money goes to the general school fund. You know, because it is a state agency that got involved in it, and the reason Texas got involved in it is because of all the offshore drilling and stuff, the GLOs. So they started kind of trading gas for electricity, and that's how they got involved in the market.
So each one of these, some of them have different surcharges and other access charges that
Yes.
others do not have.
All of them, I mean, I can get, you know, all of the surcharges are going to be very similar. Your transportation distribution charges are going to be exactly equal. But some charge a meter charge, some will charge a separate meter charge per meter, some do not.
So if you're looking at .0511 versus .05187, and you've got a charge there,
That's right.
you might erase that thousandth of a
It
cent.
sure could. You know, it's just like on homes. A lot of times, if you look at your home bill, if you're in a deregulated zone for your house, you've got different charges on there that could. It looks like it's going to be X amount, but by the time it's all said and done, it's another 2 or 3 cents per kilowatt hour more. But the GLO, the advantage of the GLO contract, it's all in. I know it's all in. Those are the prices that are all in. It's, and you're dealing with a state agency. It's an interlocal agreement strictly between Young County and the state of Texas.
Is there anywhere that you can tell which one of these companies have fewer billing errors, customer service rating?
Green Mountain has had some big problems on billing and customer service lately. Hudson is one of the world's, United States largest, and so is Suez, and so is,
There they are. We need to find another window.
Yeah, why don't we get on the, anyhow,
Larry, with the rec, with the same.
Rex did not send a thing.
Rec, we would have all the areas stuff in the rec.
Yeah, exactly.
We have the TXU, I mean, could TXU go, I mean, could they
Yeah.
do it for them?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know what those
Yeah.
were put on.
I do not
Maybe
know.
we had the direct contract already as well.
Maybe you did. But that's, all of these prices for all meters. All meters. The only meter that is defunct is the one over here that it showed it wasn't active, and I explained it to our office why it was not active.
Well, at our current rate of consumption and billing, which one of these would provide us the best value?
That's, I mean, what I would have to do, and I'm in here today to talk about coming up, and I will know that exactly when we need to strike. I don't think today is a good time to strike on the price, to be quite honest with you, because it's going up today. It's going up this morning, as I say, almost 2 mils. That's 2/10 of a penny. That adds up to a lot, because y'all's consumption last year was 1,363,000 and change kilowatt hours. So
How much difference would that make on to the cent?
well, it makes it more than you realize when you start taking. If any of you got a calculator with you, if you've got that, you can pull up the calculator. Pull up what 0.002 times 1.35 million would be.
You're charging more than that for your service.
There's what you need to, yeah.
You're adding 10% to it on
I'm not adding anything.
Sure. Everything we go through, you add 10%.
No. Not through the tips. See, this is through tips. This isn't through basic. This is through tips.
The other thing we need to look at is our dealing due to what, June?
It's not due until June, and, you know, we just need, it normally, let me tell you the time it normally starts dropping in price. Normally, by March, 1st of April,
Yes.
the prices drop.
Yes.
They go in a cycle back toward summer and they get high again.
Yes.
They always go high, low in the fall, and back in the winter months, they get high again because of the use of natural gas. You know, I think what we need to do, give our,
One of those numbers there.
take 1.35 million. Times .002.
$2,700.
That's how much, that's what,
Difference in a year's time.
so it's amazing what a little bit of a penny costs you over the long run.
Plus because of the volume of power that you use.
So we can take and shave a lot off these numbers right here around March, right?
Yeah, we can, and that's the reason I'm saying, I'm not in here, I'm trying to show you what we can do. Because what I would refresh, once y'all say, well, Larry, let's do something, because these are your prices. I mean, y'all go to the prices, you go online and go to prices, I promise you won't get these prices, they'll be a lot. Because we do a lot of this for different counties and schools and stuff. But anyhow, the best thing to do would be to look at this and address it then, and we look at it every week.
Yeah.
The moment it looks like it's getting at a better price, you need to strike when the iron's hot. Because there'll be days when the price really gets low. And then when that happens, that's when you want to strike, because that way you can strike that price for however long you want to have.
How do you catch it at that point?
For
the commissioner's court.
That's the problem, because the court's gonna be, there's where I either need to get up, you know, the court needs to say, well, get a hold of the judge, get a hold of Cheryl, or whatever, and say, this is where the price looks good. But that's completely up to y'all. I've done that to, Erath County, that's exactly what we did, we met with the judge. And the judge, you know, once we came up with a strike, I mean, I talked to every one of you on the phone that morning, but I'll know we get prices every morning at 9:30 to 10 for every company that will post it.
Should we give you the authority to visit with him and send out a group text whenever he calls, let us know when we can pull the trigger on it?
All your numbers,
Would that be,
whatever y'all want to do.
that'd be okay?
Just give her the authority to
This
say
big
yes.
contract, I think they'll stay with it for 10 days.
No, they won't.
Not on the
No, they will not.
Yeah.
I got these prices Friday and they're not honored this morning.
One time we went through a contract thing,
I had to get it that morning and I brought it to y'all.
price, I mean, it's not necessarily just their stated price.
No, these are negotiated prices. These are, I get them to bid for y'all's load. Yeah, so it's a lot cheaper than their normal rack rate, if you will, for a daily price.
When he got that price, it's good till 5 o'clock that day. That's it.
That's it.
That's as good, that's as long as it lasts.
Yeah, it's like, because these are traded, it's like playing the futures market or anything else. It's traded.
Every 15 minutes.
Oh, you're talking about, you quoted that if they post that price. Well, that's not necessarily a negotiated price for the county, that's a price.
It's price on your load. It is a bid price on your load. We ask for a bid for that amount of load. So,
I mean, she.
Like our current one, 5.05.
It's more than that.
It's less than 6.
I'm gonna pull it right there.
Yeah, we,
Sure.
The deal is we, unless something changes, depends on winter. Winter holds on a little bit longer, it depends on that part there.
once the natural gas
Demand.
demand in the United States drops, the prices drop.
And there's a rule right now, I've been watching it, and natural gas hadn't been over $4 in a long time.
That's right.
And it's been hovering over $4 here lately.
Well, see, at one time in 2008, natural gas prices were still high. And private people were paying premiums for electricity.
Well, if it's possible, we need to set up a mechanism that we can get you when Larry thinks it's the best time to sell.
Yeah, I would, because we'll just bid it every week or however y'all want me to do it, and then I can let you know. Mondays is not a good day to tell, because you've got a weekend. You don't want to ever do it on a Monday, because Monday's normally the worst day of the week.
So Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or
It's usually a Wednesday or Thursday or Friday.
Whatever they said on Friday will be good till Monday. It's like a normal day.
Well, I would think if they take Monday, if it's changed over the weekend, we're gonna give you a new price on it.
Yeah.
Let's see if, when I'm correct.
You never know what things will be between Monday and
This one, the KWH charge from TXU is, on your old contract, is 5765. Okay, now that is through the hub, that is not through the meter. So you will have almost another, so it's right at, the true figure is right at 6 cents. Because they do not, they never show anything to the meter, they show it to the hub.
What kind of surcharges is on that bill?
I don't have the bill, this is the contract.
And that's the
That's the
contract.
contract.
And this is the direct.
You have on the normal
And, yeah,
charge.
and direct energy, your stuff in the Alny and whatever is 6464. So, that was direct energy. So better,
We've got 2 different.
yeah, you've got 2 different, the stuff in Alny and all up there, I don't know why, maybe they came out earlier. That contract is due in June.
That's probably gonna pay us, that'd be first choice is
It's direct.
Carrier.
It's direct.
That's correct.
And they buy their stuff through Brazos Electric. So they buy their electricity
So, anyhow, I just wanted to get it all, because it's coming up and you can, I want y'all to have the best price possible to save the county constituents money. Is that okay?
You have to look at term also, right?
You have to look at term, you have to decide how far out you want. As I say, it's always going to be cheaper the shorter term you go,
But it changes faster.
but it changes faster. So kind of gambling.
I guess it would, to some degree, to be a matter of how often do you want to negotiate these prices?
I think you're right.
That's it. That is exactly right.
How often do you want to go through this?
Most Erath County, when they did theirs on a 3-year contract. They found out it was about the best.
That's what I was looking at. 3 years looks like it's the best way to go.
2 to 3 years, in my opinion, tend to be better. When you start going way out, they're throwing a ballpark figure at you, and they're gonna raise the rates for a certain amount. They gotta-
Vermont's 36 months is higher than its 60.
Oh, yeah, see, if you'll get down, look at Con Ed on a 12-month, it's 477.
Well, I mean, just the average of all of them, if you look at it.
Rolling back and forth.
You know, so I mean, you can get down to extremely,
For 3 years.
in years Reliance, it's 4 or 5 on the 12 month. So,
I mean, as an average, 3 years is better than,
yeah,
I mean, from all these companies, 3 years was better.
This current contract is in 3 years.
The TXU, the direct was for a year, we actually signed it last May.
yeah.
And this other one is, it was for 3 years.
Yeah, it was 3 years.
The TXU was 3
TFG
years.
was 3 years.
The bad thing about when we had to sign up with that direct test, we did it right during the bad time. You call, what the reason was on that is our contract ran out on us, and we had to get, because they would charge us a lot more than that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, see, when you go out of contract, let me, you
Just wide open.
yeah, if you ever go out of contract, they put you in rack rate.
Yeah,
You want like at a hotel, and they charge them. When I went to Erath County and visited with them, initially, 8 years ago, they were paying almost 17 cents per kilowatt. And now they're paying in the low 5s, so they saved a lot of money, you know,
but it had.
almost a third, or 2/3. So,
From a bill paying auditor's point of view, do you have? No.
But we just don't wanna run out of contract, we wanna
You
put
don't-
something in the,
The contract due in May?
June. What I feel like we need to do is kind of table this.
Which one is in June?
the direct.
All these in June.
The others in
one's in,
September.
The other one's in September. I think, but we won't put them all together. I mean, what they will do is you can't go out of contract, or you can't, short a contract because it costs you money, so everybody will sell phone. You don't want to slam yourself. So what they would do is it would be, if you decide to do something in March or April, one would start in June, the other one would start in September. Because you dang sure don't want to cause one, early termination fees are unbelievable.
Unless you go with the same company. and
Unless you-
they-
yeah.
they come in.
I say we go start looking at this at the end of February. And start getting a handhold on it, start looking at it at that point there. And then we can decide on how we're gonna.
April probably the best one.
Probably, but we can start at the end of February. If we have a mild winter, if it starts getting milder, prices will start lowering by then. This next 4 to 6 weeks could be extremely high. Because the coldness up north has caused it, not us. I mean, we had that 2 week or
On the
week.
weather forecast, I see those predicted some cold weather late.
So it'll be April or, I mean, we can wait till the very last week of May, but then you're gambling. What are we
do there?
We want to get it done. I mean, because the day y'all say pull the trigger, it'll get pulled and the contract will go in that day. We just contracts have to be in to our office so I can get it sent to the provider no later than 4 p.m. on any day.
Not taking consideration when you're buying electricity for 18,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to take into consideration, and your people right next door at the city you're looking at the same time. Talk to them on the same thing. Because they're trying to do something. But I appreciate y'all's time and y'all's allowing me to come in and do this, but I think that we need to consider it coming up within the next 3 months.
You said we used last year $1,035,000.
$1,350,000.
150.
1.35. It tells you, it should tell you right here. 1.35627. That's your annual usage.
It's measured in kilowatts.
It's measured in kilowatts.
A lot of killing.
Kilowatt. And y'all have, I think it's 16 or, I can't remember exactly. I think it's 16 meters.
18.
or 18. You've got one that's the one that's over here is default right now. I mean, it's not operational, which it shouldn't be, because it's full.
And you're right, TXU is probably gonna be a change of ownership maybe in the next 24, 36 months.
It's gonna happen. TXU overspent for buying a lot of stuff, and it's.
I'm not sure what intentional that new group at the bottom
Yeah,
right here.
it's so, but Reliance weathering the storm from the hurricane that hit Galveston. It just about bankrupt because it destroyed a lot of their infrastructure, even though they're not the incumbent. The incumbent is TXU for this area. They produce the electricity. Reliant is the incumbent for the Houston area. So they produce the electricity in there. But up here, they're just a retailer.
TXU doesn't produce any electricity, does it?
TXU is.
Luminant does it.
Luminant is all of it. TXU is a division, if you, well, it's kind of
Or a billing company.
it's a billing company.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time TXU's overspent.
No.
But it's just something that you guys need to consider and consider it as I mean, it's a big deal because it can save y'all money or it can cost y'all money. And I don't want it to cost. I want it to save. Thank y'all.
What's the pleasure of court on this item 13?
Table.
Okay, let's go ahead and make that motion.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Raw, you second?
Yes. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All in favor of the table? On okay, item number 14 is for discuss courthouse meeting system. Well, I believe on the 31st of December, Charles came in and he thought the system needed flushing. That goes to the part that the furnace heats. He circulated vinegar, cleaning solution through that for several hours during that day. Cleaned it up, got it back going and running good. I believe on January the 2nd, it was cold. It wasn't furnishing the heat that was necessary for the building. We shut the system down, cleaned the screen, and pump. It really wasn't getting that, code, but wasn't furnishing the heat, so it was shut down. And the screen was cleaned, and the furnace was light. So we got Charles back down here, and we got the furnace lit back. Water temperature at that time was about 65 or 68 degrees circulating the system. I don't think the furnace has turned off yet since then. It's set at 165 or 68 degrees. Water temperature at meeting time here was about 160 degrees. That's furnishing heat. It's doing fine on these warmer, milder days, but I don't believe the little boiler. I'm just not sure that it has capacity on these colder days to stay up, providing enough hot water to get any heat out of our fan coils. So, it's not a problem, it's really not a problem on mild days, but it probably doesn't have the capacity to keep up. It's got to get that water, you need to get that water to 85 or 90 degrees, maintain it to really get any heat out of those coils. I think it was complete, the installation was completed in 11, I believe.
August 11th. 13. 10. The deal that I think would make that a lot more efficient on that is if we added either one or two more of those same units. And I imagine what that unit was designed for was never to be a standalone unit.
That's what the guy with Carrier told me. Of course, Wes is no longer with Carrier.
Yeah.
But Robert Parker's son he's out of Louisiana. He also worked on the project. He said, a building this size, it's not him.
So it's a capacity problem?
It's a capacity problem. See, the thing about an on-demand water heater like that is there's two things that plays into it. One thing that plays into it is the temperature of the water that's coming into it that you're heating before you go move it. You know, the temperature of it, that makes a big difference. There's two ways, and I asked him if he could come in here and segregate that with valves so you could flow in different regions of this courthouse. If one region got hot or colder, faster than the other one, you could take and adjust that to where it would do that electronically. Well, you know, you throw a little money at something and you make it do whatever you want it to do. That's what that variable speed motor is designed for down there. Is the usage. However many of these fan coils are running, that's however much that motor will speed up. If you turn some of them off, then this motor slows down. That's what it was designed to do.
It's an on-demand system.
It's an on-demand system.
When you got more demand and you got capacity, you got what?
It's not gonna work. What's gonna happen is you're gonna get, part of your courthouse is gonna be burning up hot. And by the time it gets to circulating around up here where your other part is, it's gonna cool down. So it won't stay at constant temperature.
I don't think the first few days of the year, I don't think anybody's complaining about it being too warm.
But and there's more than one reason too, to have more than one of those units lined up. Because if you have a failure with one of them, then you're not gonna be
You
able
know, the whole thing's in the house.
to. Exactly. You have a backup system.
Call that a cascade system.
It shows here, this says equipment's $24,200. That ain't depicting on whether that's not what that unit cost. I bet you what. You can probably get them a lot cheaper than that. And that equipment was probably a motor and electronics and everything else tied together.
That's probably the furnace,
Well, Charles
small
Damon brought
circulating
this,
pump, the big
this other guy
circulating
down.
pump.
He's supposed to be getting me a price.
They're supposed to get us a price for one of those. I'm not just sure what the DTU rating of this particular boiler is, somewhere between 80,000 and 200. I don't know how many fan coils did we replace?
Ooh, altogether, there were a lot of.
30, 40?
I bet you're close
I
to
think there's
40.
more than that, yeah, because my office alone has two.
Well, there's a lot of area in this courthouse, and whenever you try to warm the air in that cool air in the room comes in there, circulates through the radiators. It's just like an automobile radiator kind of in the first thought. When that air moves through there, it cools the air in the radiator. By the time it gets back down here to the furnace, it's back down to tap water temperature. So you're going to have to increase the temperature. Right now it's at 160 degrees and it will do fine everywhere. Warm air. But on the cold days, it have a hard time keeping up.
Marcia's office in the basement, I mean, I guess that's the last place it goes, it's 44 the other.
And that's
cold sinks.
It was
That's probably
44 in my
clear.
office.
34?
Okay,
44.
most
Yes.
of you in there.
And there, we couldn't, we got it up to 50 was as warm as we could ever get. More than that, we were layered.
Think about the old boiler that was in there, I don't know if did you ever see that old boiler? No. Okay, well,
I heard stories about it.
it,
It warmed this place, but it was over.
you know, half as long as, maybe 2/3 as long as this table, or nearly as long. 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall.
Excuse me, talk about energy and heat.
Well, it has the capacity to keep water, in other words, it has tubes in it, that were, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inch tubes, or maybe bigger. And I don't know how many, a lot of them, we have a place that was about every 10 years, tubes. And it had a huge furnace underneath it that used a lot of gas. I don't know how much gas this one's gonna use less gas by a considerable amount, but And it's never cut off, you know, it's,
Even if it runs 24 hours a day, it's still gonna use a lot less than what that water is used.
well, it's been running 24 hours a day for, since January.
We need to find a way to increase capacity at an efficient cost, so we can never spend money at any price.
The other thing I'd suggest we do too is that we get on their maintenance program to where every 6 months, they go in there and flush that system for us. And they get it up on their annual 6-month rotation. That way we won't have to worry about that thing getting flushed. That's a key thing on those systems is keep that flushing, so it don't come up.
You don't reduce the capacity of the.
Yeah, you don't code up on it. The water we have, the way that design is, it sticks in there on those tubes and barnacles and stuff in there, and it just needs to be cleaned out periodically. At least every 6 months.
Company's recommendation is annually, and this one's never, hasn't been cleaned out.
Yeah, I can see it being late summer, so it'll be ready for time, fall, winter.
Well, when I first went down there, it wasn't lit. Is that right?
Oh, it's kind of, it's a persnickety little unit. Everything has to be set just perfectly. And we've had issues with the firing before, but it's been a good long while. I don't know what the reason was. Couldn't really, I don't know if he made a complete determination on why it wouldn't get tried live, it just wouldn't completely live go out. So, he made whatever little adjustments he made out there. It fired and it hadn't turned on.
You see, tell me when he came and did light it back up, he made some kind of adjustment. Since he has it, it's helped tremendously. I mean, the water, the air will stay warm for longer. When it starts getting cold, I just shut it off for a while.
If it's not lit, it wouldn't go.
Yeah. It's cool.
But I say we just get those prices that he's supposed to be giving us for those extended deals and also maintenance and put it back on the agenda and go forward with it.
Find answers to the problems and see what they'll come.
Yes, that's right.
No action on item 15. Okay, consider possible extension of subdivision rules. This was an item that was on our last agenda. I think it's on there by the commissioner side.
Right.
All right.
Actually, we discussed last time whether or not they would have to accommodate the engineering standards that our subdivision rules have in them. I don't see anything in the subdivision rules that would alleviate them from doing that unless we propose some alterations to our subdivision rules. Now, they're on a state highway, so a public road or county road is not involved with it as it sits at the moment, but they're talking about building a road to access the 10 property lots that they're talking about using for building lots. Each lot would be autonomous so far as its infrastructure is concerned. They have access to water there to build septic systems. And the road would be held under, I think he was discussing a landowners association or something like that. So it would not be, they're not asking that we take their road as a county road. And we explained to them that if anything happened in the future where they might want us to, it would still have to accommodate itself for a county road. So it may have to be rebuilt.
But you have to go up to standards.
Probably standards, right?
I don't.
The main thing was the planning and the engineering. Now, the only problem with engineering that I can see personally is that I'm not sure that we need to be blamed in the future because we allow somebody to come out there and open up a subdivision, whatever you want to call it, and dump the water off one lot onto another guy's lot next door to it. We probably need to really, he needs to consider drainage to drain it all to that road that he's building and make sure that one neighbor doesn't flood the other neighbor with what they do to their property.
That's part of what some of this is, I imagine.
It's about making good neighbors.
That's just to cover him also. I know it's gonna be expensive, and they're probably gonna make recommendations that he's not gonna like.
You've got minimum standards here in the packet. Those minimum standards are required by the state. Probably we've got some things in our, and I went through our subdivision, local subdivision order, which covers all of these, and I think probably plus some others. It probably came mostly from another county. It may be relevant to parts of the young county, but probably have a lot, maybe some additional requirements in there that we may not necessarily need, but I think the plat and at least partial engineering is going to be studied, are going to have to be required on this, partial engineering study when he puts his road in and those, but if he's not going to develop a, I guess you'd say a association water treatment plant, they're going to be individual septic tanks. I don't think he's going to be required to do anything except make a plat and general road. I don't think we'll have to engineer that. Again, I'm not sure about, you probably will need to do some regarding the drainage. I didn't see necessarily anything in the rules that we had. I think we might want to do away with it.
I think what the entire question is do we feel like we need to revisit these maybe and bring them up to date in line with what he's asked, and still knowing that there's a reason for those rules to be there, because we can't just simply let it be open territory on subdivisions like this.
Well, I agree. These probably need to be gone through and updated to the current stuff. As far as the engineering reports and stuff that needs to be done in here, that was done in there for a reason. It is not only to protect him, but to keep it from having further problems down the road with other things. And I think we just, and also too, whatever we do sets precedents on the next things coming up too. And we're seeing a lot more of these subdivisions, maybe they're gonna be popping up in the future. And that's another reason, like you're talking about, we need to sit down here and revisit this and get with a lawyer that's familiar with this kind of area and get to study it.
Just like Mr. Womack said, our rules are either going to encourage those kind of subdivisions or discourage those kind of subdivisions, and we need to find a balance there somewhere where we're protecting the public according to our obligations as a court, and also not trying to stand in the way of growth.
Well, what I'd be curious just to see is what, we're fixing to start a new subdivision out here south of town. And the city has annexed that within theirs. But they've got a lot of deals in their subdivision rules, I imagine, to accommodate. And like he talked about, I talked to Mr. Saylor, and he said, you wouldn't believe the paperwork I've got to do to get this thing rolling.
Both of our subdivision rules and the city subdivision rules need to be somewhat alike as far as land preparation is concerned. I realize that the sewer and water is going to be different, and the curbing and the streets, but
I believe when we passed these subdivisions, county subdivision regulations, that they divert to the city's subdivision regulations when they're in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city. So their rules are going to apply regardless of what our rules say.
so I don't see how we can excuse one party and hold the other one's foot to the fire. Because I think the bottom line on that is that we need to find some time in the next year or so to revisit our subdivision rules. Make sure they're like they are, and right now, just explain to Mr. Womack that he's going to have to accommodate himself to the rules that are there.
Right.
Yeah, 2007,
Yeah, we done them in 2007. We worked on them,
January 22nd.
we worked on them in 2007,
You're 7 years old.
but there's still a lot more need to be done to it. A lot of things changed since then.
Growth in the county is good.
Yes.
Growth in the county is bad. It's a two excellent. That's done right.
We like to see growth happen.
Yes, sir.
So you can put yourself in charge of that.
Well, each one of you need to review those subdivision
Yeah.
laws and regulations, and if you call in, you question one of the items in there, you need to just bring that to the court and discuss it.
Yeah, it's gonna do.
As far as right now, this thing as is.
Yes.
And right now, there's not much else we can do until we do it in depth.
Yes.
Okay, nothing to be done quickly on that, so I'm afraid we're stuck with what's written down on paper at the moment.
It's already long.
His cost will just be passed on the price of
It
the
will.
lots. There's gonna be,
Sorry.
There's an exemption or a provision that will allow, for an owner not to subdivide if the lots are over 10 acres.
I read that last meeting, but at the end, it throws it back over to the rules again.
It's,
It starts off on exclusion and exception, and then
it is excluded if they don't designate part of it as, public property, as use of it, like a road, or if they don't make a park or a
well, if it's a private road and the lots are over 10 acres, do they have to comply to all those?
I guess they'd have to put a road in there or a layout road. If they don't lay out streets and alleys or make park areas or common areas that are
It's
the
drawing,
use of the owners of the subdivision.
the drawing shows a road and a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Turnaround.
That's a different animal than what it is like out here on the Union Highway, where they come off the state highway.
Right.
I think are all those, aren't all those over 10 acres?
Yes, sir. He said he could make them all over 10 acres, but I believe that each and every one is over 10 acres. The smallest one is 10 acres.
Does it have to have roads have access to all of the lots?
Yes.
Well, there's the caveat there. And I'm talking about the minimum. I'm not sure if we could go strictly to that, regulations, I think.
There you go.
We may have required the plat on the entire, whether it was 10 acres or not. I think we'll do that. All that's in there right there. We've had that issue before a few times. On the 10
That is
acres.
a private road. It might not be.
Well, if we laser, if the road's gonna have to have, it has to be put in there to access those, then he's gonna have to dedicate, he'll have to dedicate the use of that thing to the owners of the property, which would technically, I think, demand that a plat be required.
If he maintained ownership of that road in a piece of property that he owned there and just allowed an easement to those residents to use that road.
I'd have to refer to further advice on that. Is there any other discussion or action that we need to take with regard to subdivision rules and regulations? Do you want to table that, or do you want to just call it?
I don't think that we're going to do with that at the moment. We remove it from the agenda. unless Mr. Womack should have something to add back.
We'll have no action on that and then bring it up again at the time requested. Okay. With this, item number 16 is discussion and consideration for random certification expenses for Barrett Stedham
Actually, Judge, if we could, if I could,
from the last agenda.
yes, sir, actually, if we could, if I could alter the agenda or ask the I would alter the agenda to go to the next item so we can alleviate Judge Ross.
Okay.
Make that as quick as possible.
Request to move to item 17. We'll take up item number 17, consider a quote on security items for JP1.
Yes, sir, the judge got with me about doing access panel for their office as they interact with the public quite intimately with that little window they have. And since they deal with cash, the judge and his chief secretary got with me to bring in Guardian, who currently is our contractor for our video surveillance system, to see what it would cost to bring in access control for the doors to allow them to see who is entering and to add pneumatic locks so they can release the door to allow whoever in as they deem appropriate. It includes monitors for each desk so they can see who actually is approaching the window. And also it ties in directly to our current video surveillance system, so it would be picked up and recorded just as normally as our other one will and does. So this is what Gordon, the sales rep, quoted out, and I believe the judge has and JP Technology Fund enough to cover this on their own. I'm not quite sure what's in.
Can it be used for that?
From my understanding, it could be used for that, yes.
Why would it not? In the sense, why would it not?
I was just asking if you
Oh, no,
looked at
no.
the guidelines to see if it could be used for that. There's, between the two
Right.
JPs, there's 36,000.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know that
Technology or security?
We're talking about technology, yeah.
Security has 19,000.
but this is the quote that I was asked to get and present, and so here it is for y'all's consideration.
Is that putting a new door on your door that goes into your office, a wooden door?
No, it's not replacing doors. It's
It
actually
would. I
right.
don't think that's safe at all.
And Gordon suggested that we might look at a heavier door to put in to add that layer of security. But more or less what it's going to do is like at the sheriff's office, they have the ability to punch in people and release the door lock.
To the door that comes to the hallway or the one that's inside?
It's inside. Actually, this quote covers both his door and the door just inside the corridor. So the one leading to the hallway would remain open during business hours and as the judge sees fit. And then the two doors inside would be the ones that are applicable to this quote.
I discussed this with another company in Montgomery at the conference this last year. And I would like to see an additional set of numbers.
Okay.
Good.
If you could get me,
I'll get you the name and the contact person.
Why would it not be less expensive to put it on the entry door?
I think we run into the conflict of, limiting your interaction completely with the public if you have that.
That's what you're doing anyway. I mean, you can just get into the little corridor unless you break the glass out the window.
Right. I think that once you cross into that barrier, you're looking at everybody in the courthouse who deals with cash, looking to add pneumatic locks to every outside door that runs to the hallway, which could get quite pricey. And
Well, that system on the district judge's office is virtually what we're talking about, but you're talking about one each for a door on going into the judge's office or one going into the courtroom.
right.
You can't access anything other than the little entry foyer. I mean, if you do that, that's the only place you can get in, and they're gonna pay for it.
I believe a large part of this is the convenience of the ladies who work inside the office.
We have a lot of traffic, considering what the district judge has as paying and so forth. As far as in and out traffic all day long, they don't have that traffic up there that we have.
I don't have all paying tickets and stuff.
Right. We have to let people in, come, we have to let people in to come to court and so forth. It's not the same operation at all.
No, it's not, but it's the same system. Not the same operation, but it's the same system.
I mean, that doesn't make,
Well, we're looking, are you looking at two different buttons, one to get in,
There actually would not be a keypad. Judge Bristow's has a numeric pad with a passcode. This is a proxy sensor that would allow for entry without keys. You would have a fob or an RFID card to.
Like a sheriff's office.
Right, like in sheriff's office. So, I mean, essentially, the concept is the same, allowing, restricting access to certain places. This system is set up to provide security as well as convenience to keep the ladies from having to get up every time somebody walks through the door.
well, I understand that. Perfect.
Would we have to do both doors inside that for you? Can we do just the door accessing the courtroom?
From my understanding, we can do as much or as little as we want. This was just a recommendation of Gordon.
I guess I'm asking why would we want to do the
No,
door
we
directly out the foyer into your office?
we don't need one in my door.
We just need one in the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this for two doors or one?
This is 2 doors. So essentially, you're looking at reducing the cost
Reducing the cost of it.
quite a bit. But I can get with Gordon and have him revamp the quote to not include the judge's door and let that to just be a key access.
Not secure that door yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. That's not a problem.
That's what
They'll
they'll
need a
do.
monitor.
That's where the money's kept, and I want them to be secure, where they can.
Want to monitor it at each desk so they can see who's there.
Right. Joanne asked directly if we could have a video monitor at each desk to see who's entering the building or who's entering the office. And to give an example as to why that would, I guess, be an added benefit would be in the event that I come to the office, they can see that it's me. They don't physically have to get up and open the door because I'm not paying the traffic ticket or asking to see the judge. I'm usually there for some sort of maintenance. So they can see that I'm there on their monitor and pop the door.
We have troopers, officers,
Right.
everybody else in and out all day too.
That door stays locked all the time anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah. So they've got,
If you needed assistance inside the courtroom in an emergency situation, how would someone gain access to the courtroom in a hurry? Go through the door?
Somebody's gotta let them in.
These guys.
Security.
Just like at the sheriff's office, these pneumatic locks, in the event of power outage, would automatically release. So if that was a concern, the fail-safe is to, when there's no power, that the electromagnet disengages.
The door open.
Right. So this is for y'all's consideration, asked by the judge for me to bring this forward to y'all. So I can get the numbers revamped, we can.
I'm gonna table it, explore it further with another set of numbers. Get back, how did you?
I think it's necessary.
I think it would be an additional added layer of security with an office that handles cash, which I can understand.
A motion of Mr. Sykes, table, further consideration. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Are these numbers covered by the security of the?
By the budgetary numbers we discussed, is that what you're asking?
Right.
Would they be allowable?
I don't know about the JP technology, I need to look at those, I know it went under courthouse security, you know, that certainly fall under there. But I need to read over the guidelines of JP technology, I thought it was mainly computers or equipment type stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so,
So,
but I'll check it out and see, Jim, but yes, on the courthouse security, definitely.
Right, a portion of it is technically computer. But the added benefit with going with Guardian actually would tie into the system we currently have, which is,
And that's a plus for Guardian.
That's a problem.
right, and it's a plus for Young County because we purchased a system that would allow for expansion, and this is technically the reason we paid a little bit extra for an expandable security system.
Yeah.
So it would tie directly in.
Okay, we're on table that, bill for the next meeting.
so if it's not a cost to the county and it's funded already, would it be, I mean, is that something we
We need to budget for it.
Right.
You're gonna have new numbers for us?
Yes, sir.
If we can't cover it under one of these, Jim, they could budget.
And we'll make
There's
the
not anything in the
determination
budget actually
whether
right
it's,
now, but all these other
will be
ones.
a courthouse security issue or a technology issue
Okay.
So
with
we'll
regard to the thing. All in favor? Carried 5-0. We'll back up to item number 16 while you're still here.
All right, thank you very much. This is the same, but a different horse altogether with the computer forensics. This actually is removing the $10,000 of hardware that's associated with the cell phone, with Celebrite, the training and everything this is a completely different company doing something which is called Basic Computer Forensic Examiner certification. What it would allow me to do is be certified for computers to extract information for criminal cases. It's considerably cheaper as there's no hardware to purchase than the Celebrite. And actually, if you notice, along with that, I put in a page from their website that allows for a scholarship that would cover the cost of these, other than my travel.
Do we have anything in here?
Yeah, it's right here. Excuse me, it's right in front of you.
Okay.
There's an overview, there's a breakdown of what it covers, cost involved, where it's located, and then on the back page, there's a scholarship. Being Deputy Budarf, have discussed the possibility of a grant through Victims Assistance. He's still working on that, looking at that, and we're supposed to get back together to determine whether one is fully applicable as far as Victims Assistance. But from everything we understand, it is, and he said there's plenty of money available for that if in the event the scholarship doesn't, if I'm not selected for a scholarship.
So it's $27.95 plus travel expenses.
Yes, sir.
To where?
This one is in Florida. There's no computer forensic classes, whether it be computer or cell phone, in the state of Texas in the foreseeable future in 2014. I have Joel Green from Sierra currently looking for classes that are closer to home. The last couple of classes Matt's looked for to encompass Texas, and I don't believe he's found any either. Is that correct? The one in San Antonio was incorrect as far as what classes provided versus what was provided in Washington, D.C. So they provided a remedial class as well as an entry-level class. So essentially, we would be paying the price of two for only one certification, where the one in DC actually covered two certifications. But the time has come and gone for that, and that's perfectly fine with me. I don't think I want to be there this long.
Is this a class just for the extraction of information off of the cell phone, or is this for you being certified to testify in court also.
Well, actually, this is computers, not cell phones. Right. This is full-blown computers through Windows. It also includes some Linux.
Is that computer, does that also include cell phones?
Under the umbrella of the certification, yes, it would encompass that. Now, it wouldn't give us the tools that the Celebrite hardware would have given us, but that came with a hefty price tag.
Is this gonna certify you to testify in court?
Yes, sir. It would make me considered.
Sounded like that you had extracted it already.
I have, and the thing is, this actually,
What software did you use then?
just my computer software, and my wherewithal with that.
Here's my problem with this, is you're an IT director. What Young County needs is somebody to keep the computers, repaired, to keep them as, hardware and software, and to keep the bugs out of them, and to keep us online. And the Commissioner's Court doesn't necessarily need a forensic expert in there.
Right.
If the SO wants one, or the DA needs one, that's something that they probably ought to budget or make a request for out of their departments. And also, you're stretched pretty thin. You're doing a lot of things.
That is very true.
This would essentially, or could very well take you, even stretch you thinner.
Actually, the way that this is, I'm currently doing these things as they stand.
Yeah, and that's stretching you pretty thin with regard to the things that you need to do for Young County. And the computer, the information technology that's associated with your job description, this really doesn't fit your job description.
Okay.
That's my opinion on that. So, what's the rest of the court?
Kind of that way too, Judge. Kind of that way, you're an IT man. I'd kind of like to outsource it to a business, 2 hours down the road that can do it 24/7.
Right.
I think that you're really gonna be relied on, 24/7.
I mean, and not to disagree with you, but currently I am relied on 24/7. In the event of any type of issues that we have, the dispatch in the jail run 24/7. I got called out on Christmas Eve because one of the patrols needed repairs on their computer, so I assisted at 9 o'clock on Christmas Eve. The stuff that Tim Bay brings me, they get done at any point in time. I have a hard time turning down an officer who's approached me, who's in need of something in a quick time frame, to keep from having to export that, go with chain of custody, and go to whether it be South Lake or wait in line with the FBI. So, I mean, I completely understand your concerns. I would just offer up that right now I am 24/7. There is no technically vacation for me. I'm available and can be contacted at any point in time.
How much overtime are you reporting right now?
It's been normal.
For a while, it was a lot. It was cut
Right.
back.
How do you feel about this, sir?
The thing about,
It's the first time I've heard about this. That's why I'm here. I don't want it if we don't need it. If we have a computer or a cell phone, we can send it off. If there is a chance that we need to do this, there is grant available, but I don't want out of my budget, I'm not asking for it. Bottom line. And Tim has went to him to get stuff off computer and phones, and that needs to be changed. I'll tell you that right now. Because that's putting him in a predicament to go to court. He's not certified to go to court over that. And I think we need to send it to a forensic, at the DPS or whoever, and get him out of the picture.
Is that something that you desire to do?
No, absolutely not. The way that I see this This is purely asking for something that I'm already being asked to do, which apparently the sheriff doesn't want that anymore, which is perfectly fine, because taking that off my table would be nice. But this was simply a CYA for both the county and myself, as well as the district attorney, that when she had somebody extract information off it, whether it be a computer or a cell phone, that I be certified and as considered an expert to testify. That way I'm not the low-hanging fruit on the court case.
Sure, if I can ask, it was presented to us that there's times when an investigation is assisted because of the time element involved. Is there no time where there's a rush to get this information?
Well, I mean, any investigation, you need, you know, if you've got to get a computer or whatever, it's going to take time, and that's just the way it is.
I think it was the cell phone more than anything else.
Yeah,
The birds have
you know,
flown by the
and I'll
time
tell
you
you
get
something, Commissioner, that's one case that we've got going right now, and one in a year, two in a year maybe. Personally, I don't think that's to send him somewhere to get certified for 2 phones a year, or one. You know, if I'm going to Commissioner Court for $20,000, it's not going to be for that. I mean, there's other stuff that we need out there, but, you know, and I don't mean to be a burden, I don't mean to down him, but I think it was handled wrong.
Well, I don't think you're downing anybody.
No,
I think what the deal is that you want to get him out of the position of having to be put on the
I
stand.
agree. You
And
know,
some defense attorney saying, "Are you certified?" "No, sir, I'm not." Then what makes you think you know what you're doing?
exactly, and that could jeopardize the case.
You know?
So,
So,
I'm just trying, I mean, Eric got kind of put, and I will say this for Eric, with my investigator, Eric, they're friends, and he kind of got put in a situation that Eric probably said yes, and probably needed to say no. And so, maybe we can kind of nip it right here and let Eric concentrate, if it's fine with the court, on the job he's supposed to be doing,
well,
and kind of get him out of the law enforcement aspect of
I
it.
agree that all departments in Young County need to try to accommodate each other if
Oh, I
all
agree.
possible for the good of the citizenry of Young County. But if it's going to be a problem, when the DA and the chief investigator stand there and says, "We really could use this, and this is what it will cost," our decision is it worth the cost, and where does the cost come from?
I agree.
You know, I'm afraid, and let me say this about the IT guy. The world we live in, I'm afraid that Eric's job is going to expand whether we want it to or not in technology. So, I mean, his plate's going to continue to be full.
And it's full for him now, I know, because, I mean, we've got several stuff waiting,
It's
but
growing.
it's busy, and
You
he
know,
hadn't got a chance to do it yet, so.
I agree.
I'm just
But if the
hoping.
sheriff's department will help take him off that hook with the DA and whatever to have to be, you know.
We're going there next, so, you bet.
And I gave a solution last time is I know several people that do that as a private business that are certified or ex-FBI agents, and they have their own business and they can do that.
True.
So I do know those, so if he, and this one guy that I've used before can get the stuff done that day. So if it's, and he can testify in court. So if it's
That's what I was talking about.
emergency circumstances, it can be done that day.
Have sorted, and
It's like you said, it's
Commissioner, I've been here, and your salary's based on not a 24/7 position. I don't want you
If we could go back to me being able to not answer my phone after 5 o'clock, I think you'd make my wife quite happy. But
It doesn't work that way.
unfortunately, I've inherited it as it is, that it's a 24/7 job, and it's hard to tell, you know, a patrol officer who's dealing with the criminal aspect of the county, that his computer is just gonna have to wait till I'm back in the office.
Is there, right?
Is there a precedent set for any other counties or districts where they involve the IT guy? And if so, if anyone knows of that, what is their success rate? Is it more efficient? And if not, I'll do my own research, but.
No, I've actually been in contact with a couple of counties who are utilized by the sheriff's office or law enforcement.
IT people? And how's that working out?
They say that it occurs about 3 or 4 times a year, and that they have no issues with it.
So is it a matter of increased efficiency if they're only having to use you 2 or 3 times a year? They have an expert, they have an IT guy who's really, in this sense, if it's 2 or 3 times a year, really not being spread that thin. I mean, do you have a sense of that at all?
From my understanding, other departments vary from, in literally every aspect, size of the county, size of the department, but it doesn't, from my understanding, from speaking to them, it's not a thing that they're being spread thin due to it. In my years here, over the past year, we have seen an influx of devices being brought in out of either burglary of habitation or things of that nature.
And one more thing, it sounds like people are not wanting this, officials, county officials are not. But if you were just to get the computer certification, did you say that did include cell phones or it did not?
As for an aspect of being certified for forensics and electronic forensics, it would encompass that in the event that I would have to testify. It would not provide me any form of hardware to do the extraction other than what I'm currently allotted.
So does that change your credibility at all as far as an expert witness?
No, technically it would not.
How long does it take you to do this?
It honestly depends. Yeah, I mean, we do 4 hours. It varies from device to device as to how the devices are secured. For the most part, if we're looking at computers, we have an idea of what we're looking for. Captain Bay comes in and says, "This came from a device. This came from this type of crime. Here's what we're looking for," and I can go and dig from there. So I mean, you're looking at an average of maybe 2 hours tops.
Are you trying to go around encryption? Is that what the situation is?
That actually, encryption is part of this type of certification. Allows for me to know how to break that and move on. It would benefit my job as an IT director, but obviously I don't want to go against the recommendation of the sheriff who doesn't appear to want this, and so I would not press forward. If I could keep that off my table and do something, I can always use more time.
And I've talked to 2 agencies, Parker County SO and Weatherford PD, and both of them have in-house certified officers that do their forensics for them. So I don't know if that'd ever be an option for the sheriff.
We've got someone that do it, actually, we don't utilize it right now.
Why is that?
I would rather send that off.
Right. No, I was saying, I don't know if Parker County or Weatherford, you out to.
Well, of course, they're like bigger agencies too, but,
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
I say we take 10-minute recess.
Okay, what's the, no action on 16th? Okay, we've got a request for recess, we'll recess for 15 minutes. Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. 11:25 a.m. on the 13th of January. Item number 18 is where we are, and that's consider County Attorney Dane Miller's written opinion regarding disposition of property. Is there any discussion?
Can he take and explain that part in his term?
Mr. Miller,
I didn't understand.
could you come on up here a little
Come
bit?
up and explain it to the commissioner?
Yeah, it's in writing, spelled out, you have a question?
Why did you choose the first part of that disposition and not any other part of that disposition? Well, am I correct in these, like 263.152 on disposition, you have a Commissioner's Court of may, of any county may, and then it goes down through there with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, 4A or 1, A, B, C. In other words, we can choose whichever one fits our need or our desires, correct?
What you looking at?
I'm looking at the code.
What number?
263.152 on disposition. It says in A, it says Commissioners Court may, the Commissioners Court of any county may, 1, periodically sell the county surplus or salvage property by competitive bid or auction, except that the competitive bid or auction is not necessary. If the purchaser.
Not necessary, what?
If the purchaser is another county or a political subdivision within the county that is selling the surplus or salvage property, or it can offer the property for trade-in, or it can order the property to be destroyed, or otherwise disposed of as worthless. Or it can be disposed of the property by donating it to a civic charitable organization, or undertake the selling of the property under subdivision 1. I mean, there's several different ways to go about it.
Yeah, that's why.
And my question is-
The ordinance, give you a copy of the statute, so as you can see, if you want to sell it to the city of Graham, you can do that. You don't have to have competitive bids to sell to the city of Graham, or something like that. I don't know, city of Amish, if you want to sell it to them, that's part of the subdivision in the county, or the subdivision. If you want to donate it to the museum, which is a nonprofit, might qualify, and just look at that one. You would.
Mr. Miller, have you made the determination, is that building to be surplus or salvage property?
When it's separated from the land, not part of the land, it will be either surplus or salvage or trash. One of the three. It's personal property, and it's going to be either surplus or salvage or trash.
Who determines that? Who determines that?
The nature of what it is determines that.
So if it's a pile of bricks out there, what's that gonna be?
Well, if you bulldoze it down, you got a pile of bricks that are all broken up, that's gonna be trash. Now, if you have bricks that are salvageable, you take the excess cement off of them and sell them, okay? Then that may be salvage.
But that's absurd when you're demolishing a building that you would even through it.
If I deem that building usable just as it says, then my definition is gonna be surplus property, correct?
The building,
Yes, sir.
but you're gonna tear the building down.
But if I deem it usable, my definition of that building over there is usable, I would consider it surplus property.
Sell the building. But if you sell it to be torn down, then it's gonna be personal property when it's torn down.
We're not selling it though.
No, just tear it down. And that's what I understand, is the court voted to demolish the building.
But we're not selling it.
So when you demolish the building,
Are you giving it away?
No, we're actually paying somebody.
You're paying somebody to haul it off.
Okay?
We're paying for the service of tearing it down and hauling it off.
Then you're gonna have to make the determination, or someone's going to have to make the determination that the building is worthless.
When it is, when it is
Without
torn down,
value.
what's there, torn down, is gotta be personal property. Some of it will be trash, some of it will be surplus, and some will be salvageable. The electric wiring probably would be salvage. The steel doors, steel door frames, things like that, probably would be surplus because they would still have the use as for what they were intended to. That we sold to someone that does that would use them for that, but that's what it would be.
Okay, what you're talking about is if we take and we go in there and physically remove everything out of there, piece at a time. And if I go out there and remove that door frame, with or without that door, then that right there can be sellable. But if I go in there and take that door frame and not tear it all into a whole bunch of pieces, then that's a different process. That's a different process, just like with bricks. Is that correct? And the same way with the wiring. If we go in there and actually go in there and pull every bit of that wire out, every bit of that conduit, and pile it over here in the corner over here and sell it, then that's a different process.
That's salvage.
That's salvage.
That's salvage.
All right, but if I go in
The law
there,
says you sell it by competitive bidding or auction.
exactly.
Okay.
But if I go in there and I say, I pay this guy here X amount of dollars to demolish it, to get rid of it, to throw it away, this court's deemed it junk. It's not usable for us anymore.
Are you giving,
It's gone.
are you giving that person that property? Are you giving that person whatever value he can retaliate?
That's what the deal says, is we're paying that guy to get rid of it.
Are you
We're not selling it to him.
Are you giving him those items?
We're not selling it to him.
Are you giving them to him?
We're not selling it to him.
Are you giving them to him?
He can do whatever he wants to with it.
It's just like if any other building was tore down, they haul it off.
When we take our documents to the paper pig,
There you go.
and they destroy our documents, which is our personal property, because we've transferred that document to a different type of document, so therefore we've rendered our documents obsolete and undesirable to keep any longer. And they shred that, and they put it in a bundle, and they take it off and they sell it to someone. Are we not doing the same thing we're doing here? Are we not giving them our paper? Are we not giving them the revenue off that paper? Aren't they taking it and doing with what they want to do with it?
That's a good point.
Aren't they recovering some of their capital by selling that bale of paper?
Have no idea what to do with it.
When we pay people to haul it.
That's where we're at. We don't care what they
We
do.
don't care what to do with it. That's exactly right.
We're shredding the building.
What about when we have people pay to haul our tires?
Charge to come here?
Yes, they charge you to pay them. We don't ask for competitive bids.
Do we
When we don't
pay
get
people,
out that bale of paper,
do we pay people to haul off our tires that we've used with the county?
Yes.
What do they do with
I
it?
believe when you take paper and shred it,
Yes.
what you have is trash.
that's what we're gonna have with this building.
Exactly.
Steel doors, and door frames, and.
They're baling that trash, Mr. Miller, and selling it.
You betcha.
Trash.
They're selling it to pulp mills for an income, for a revenue.
I think you need to look at the statute definition. of trash.
Just like, Mr. Miller, just like tires, when they haul them off, do you think what are they doing? Do you think they're destroying them? No, they're taking them and selling them.
So if
So they can make more tires.
if we take a cattle guard out because it's no longer serviceable, and we remove it to the precinct, and we cannot take it and sell it for scrap metal without bidding it out,
Technically, no.
do we?
I don't know whether you do or not.
We had a discussion about what we do with salvage metal money not long ago during the budget hearing. I know I've used commissioners sitting here that have sold scrap metal.
Sure have.
And scrap tires.
Gave the check back to our auditor too.
Yes.
Sure have. And we did not ask for bid on that metal.
Excuse me. Actually, I did give it to you. You gave it to her.
Did we not set a precedent for this anyway?
I don't care what the precedent is. The question is, are you gonna take Mr. Miller's opinion, and do according to the code, or are you?
There's two different questions there, sir.
Are you going to, ignore that opinion?
Mr. Miller's opinion is not anything binding, it's strictly an opinion, and there's a lot there that I don't agree with him on. Some things I do agree with him on, and it's an opinion, I read it, I heard it, I appreciate him giving it to us, now then
Well, you move forward according to his recommendations, or then you reject the opinion?
why would his recommendations be anything but a consideration for what we do?
It's the court's choice.
That's exactly right.
You accept his opinion or move forward, you.
Well, I don't know if it's the court's choice to accept his opinion.
You request a higher opinion, or you ignore the opinion and move forward as you wish.
You know, I've disagreed with lawyers' opinions many times in my life, and I'll probably
The Attorney General's opinion is only an opinion. Are you going to ignore that?
So is the Supreme Court, yes, sir, and I agree with some of theirs also.
Or are you going to ignore theirs and move forward? Do you think that you can do just what the court wants to do and ignore any part of the law?
I don't think the court's doing anything wrong.
Okay.
I believe Mr. Sykes just said that his opinion is more important than the Supreme Court opinion or anything.
No, I'm not telling you what my opinion as an American is just as valuable as the Supreme Court's opinion.
Okay, then move forward, ignore that opinion and go on. It's a given that the building is going to come down. It's a matter on what, bring it down in accordance with the code and the disposition of county property. If the court is going to, before the court renders the property worthless, they're going to have to accept bids and receive no bids. If they receive no bids, then the court has the authority to render the property worthless. But you are required to take bids on the sales of county property, period. If you can take bids on that, or you can ignore that provision in the law and move forward just like you're doing. That's a rule of the court, the majority of the court. Whatever the court does, the court will do. I don't believe that they're adhering to the code and the law as it pertains to the disposition and sale of county property.
You're certainly allowed to have that opinion, sir.
So is that the opinion of the county attorney.
And so is mine.
So is that the opinion of,
That opinion also.
Yeah.
Mr.
First off, I don't believe that you can separate the land from real property, or the building from real property. I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
The building itself is not real property, but if you sold the land, the building would go with it unless it was excluded.
And it says there today that building and land are together. You cannot exclude the building from land and call it real property.
It is not, the building is not real property.
Building is real property.
Building is not real.
We have a difference of opinion.
It's not an opinion, that's the law.
No, it's not. It's a definition. It's an opinion. Everywhere I've looked, anywhere you can find real property is land and building.
Well,
That's the reason we call it real estate.
if you look at your tax statements, there is a value to the land. In most instances, and there is a value to the improvements to the land.
You go down to bank appraisal when you're getting a loan, it's the same way.
That includes your home, that includes your barn,
What
that includes
I
your
said,
building.
when you separate the building from the land, the building is personal property, period. It is not real estate, it is personal property. That's what the statute here deals with disposition of by counties. You can follow it, not follow it, that's up to you. If you have the definitions and they're there, you may think that you want to call it something else, but you're calling it something else doesn't make it that. The law fits it. The law fits it.
That's what I'm saying. Calling it that doesn't make it.
The law calling that doesn't make it valid. Is that what you said?
Sir, courtrooms are designed to decide what the law says. You and I have a difference of opinion about what it says. Okay? Then what your definition of is. And we can sit here and we can talk semantics and everything, but my opinion is it doesn't say that. Your opinion is that it
Okay, are
does.
you ready to move forward?
No.
Okay. What do you propose to do?
What do I propose to do? Let me see.
Have you got a motion to put out here?
No, sir.
There's nothing on here. We
Why are you soliciting a motion?
There's nowhere you can put a motion on this.
Why would there be?
If you're talking about what I think you're talking about.
Let me tell you this. Leadership here, gentlemen, is trying to find a way to make things work, not trying to figure out a way to divide.
Exactly. I agree.
We need to start figuring out a way to work this thing out. Now then, let's see if we can't make what you think it says work in conjunction with what we think it says. Okay? And that doesn't mean to pop off at this table and make a motion that you wish you hadn't made later on.
Okay.
There needs to be more thought put into it.
What do you propose to do?
I propose to see if there's a possibility that there is someone else out there that can do the job in a like manner that this matrix demolition can do for that building.
How do you propose to do that?
Well, first I'll do some research and see if there's any reason that we should even expect someone to do it in the workmanlike manner that it has shown to us that they can do it in. And then we may have to talk about putting it out for bid. But I'm not sitting here making a motion right now saying let's put it out for bid. I'm saying we need to look at it a little more. I wanted to try to accommodate you, Judge.
All I'm trying to get the court to do is follow.
And I don't have to agree with Mr. Miller's opinion, because it's an opinion. He would be the first attorney I ever disagree with.
I think that could be a motion.
What? That I disagree with anyone?
To reject the opinion and move forward.
I'm not gonna reject opinion in total. I just think that there's some discrepancies there that I don't agree with.
In your research.
Is there any reason to have to accept that motion? A motion to accept this opinion? It's a piece of data, it's not something we're needing to vote on.
It's a legal opinion,
Well,
and that's what it is, an opinion.
Let me
Just like the district attorneys, that could be an alternative. You can,
well, I'm not going to vote to reject or accept it.
the court could solicit the opinion of a higher elected official, which would begin with the district attorney. If the district attorney chose not to give you the opinion, then the auditor there may request an opinion of the attorney general if the district attorney or the county attorney will not provide it.
That opinion's going to be there in order to have bearings upon the
The county
deliberation.
attorney has rendered his opinion. If you disagree with that opinion, you can seek a higher one, okay? You can move forward with your intent to demolish the building. Or you can table the issue for further study. There's all kinds of motions that you can make with regard to this item.
We have somebody here that's done research on different companies that's comparable to Matrix. And what did you find?
I have so far found that Matrix geographically is the closest. Just based on a cursory search. That is not saying that I have an opinion on whether or not y'all should have. That's just what I found in my research.
I'm not asking for your opinion, I'm just asking for, on your research, what you found.
Geographically, Matrix does appear to be the closest.
What about monetarily?
Monetarily, I couldn't get a hold of anyone to tell me, give me a quote, unless they saw that I was completely interested, and once they saw that I was from the press, they were even more.
Now, Mr. Wiley, when Matrix was here, did I not ask him if they've done state buildings before?
Yes.
And he said, what? Yes. And have they gone through all of this regional road before?
You're misinterpreting that. He said he made a proposal to the state. That's going to be a competitive proposal, man.
No, he said he's done work for,
He did do work for the
Right.
state, and there was
That's what
a
I said.
proposal that he
He
issued
said,
the
he
state
said
accepted.
they got contracts from the state in competitive bidding. That's how they got contracts from the state for demolition.
The guy, the salvage man at all, his name Roy Hayes, he's got a friend in Denton, I believe, that's kind of interested in it. Well, he's supposed to
I'm just
contact-
trying to get the court to follow the law, period, you know, well, if the court, excuse me, but for a long time, even all the time that I've been on this court, the Commissioners Court likes to use the law when it benefits the business of the court. When it works against what the majority of the court wants to do, they tend to try to look the other way and ignore that. I include me in that.
I'm just in my first year on this court, and I don't have any precedence to do it. I'm just using my
I'm just in
business sense to do this sort of thing, and my experience in life is telling me that there's a better way to do this than what we're doing at the moment.
I'm just in my 23rd year, so just happy.
I understand. I'm at least as old as you are, and I've had experience elsewhere. So my experiences are just as rich and valuable as anybody else's.
Well, the court can do what the majority of the court wishes to do.
Our desire is we put it back on the schedule for the next,
There you go. I'd like to do some more research on it myself.
the 27th, is that the next meeting?
yes.
Yes, it is. Next schedule, man.
Table it for further consideration. I'll move.
I'll second that. And be sure when we put it on there, add to what the jail, the old jail disposition, or whatever.
Further we're doing.
That's a motion by Commissioner Sipes and a second by Commissioner Wiley to table item number 18, consideration of Dane Miller's opinion and disposition of county property to be reconsidered on January the 27th.
Wait a minute. You're talking about considering that Keller's amendment? I'm making a motion to consider the demolition of the old jail the next meeting. Consideration of Mr. Miller's opinions.
Okay,
We heard him out.
that's
Vote a yes or no on it, do you agree?
Gentlemen, can I say one thing? Sure. Okay. I'm not asking that you accept or reject my opinion. You gave me certain questions in writing, and I gave you my opinion in writing. What you do with it, that's up to you. That's not my prerogative to say what you do with it. I believe that I've set out what the law requires, but if you have better legal knowledge than I do, help yourself. Or if you want to get a higher opinion, I have nothing to say with it. If you want to go to the AG's office, file a suit, and take it to the Texas Supreme Court, that's fine too. Whatever you desire to do. I'm not recommending one way or the other. I just gave you my opinion and answered the questions that you submitted to me.
And I think Mr. Sipes is saying.
I agree fully with what you just said.
He appreciates your opinion.
You betcha.
And you did a good
Thank you
job.
for your service.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need table.
take no action on this item.
No action, right? You don't need to table.
Then you want a motion?
No action.
to Consider the demolition of the old jail. On
At
the
the
22nd. Is that correct?
Sir, do what?
You want an item on the agenda of the 27th, consider demolition of the old jail. That ain't that word.
It won't be locked into demolition until we make a decision about how we go about doing that.
You got 2 weeks.
So we need to discuss the old jail. Just put on there to discuss the old jail.
You can consider anything?
You got 2 weeks.
Or consider. discuss or consider.
Well, you know, is there any reason that we have to put it on today? No. So I decide how I want that worded. We can put it on
There you go.
before Thursday, before the meeting, right?
Okay, you withdraw your motion.
Yes, sir, I withdraw my motion. Good deal, I want you to let you know, we need to find a way to find over there and get this going, get this done for everybody's happy.
Okay, being that Mr. Sipes withdrew his motion, now obviously you're going to withdraw your second. We'll take no action on item number 18. We'll move to item 19.
Yay.
Road crossings. 1, 2, 3, 4, listed 4. There are at least 4 in your package. I'm not sure that all of them are defined accurately. There's also $3,000, $500, and $3,500. $500 with one application for a permit, and there's $3,000 with the others. I'm not sure.
7 road permits for this company. 7 road permits for this company.
Well,
In total.
Well, it's gonna cross the road more than once. Okay.
I was just going by that email sent to you, Mr. Sipes, done like 4 and increasing 3.
It's all right.
what roads are they going to be crossing?
Just,
4 roads.
Briar Creek, Indian Mound, Romney, and East Oven.
Do that for a little flurry of emails that everything that I've received from Fiberlight has been jointly emailed to all the commissioners. Either direct or CC, courtesy copies or whatever. We've got a $500 check here for a road crossing on Indian Mound. I believe that's going down the south side of Indian Mound, and I also believe that it crosses Briar Creek. I don't know if Briar Creek's listed here on.
The one we approved last meeting, and when we heard his email, I'm showing only 4 road crossings.
Yeah.
2 on Indian Mound, 1 on LC Young, and that's 3 road crossings. So I don't know what the $3,000.
But the email said 3 in precinct 3. Is it 3 on
Yeah, there is. There's one that's,
Sixto and all?
It says 1 on LC Young, which is in precinct 1. It says 2 in Indian Mound, in precinct 2. He's using the list that we need to update on our website. Ollie, Hutchins, Seastow, we got 3 in precinct 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, and that last one's 7, that's it. It's your 3 that I wasn't counting.
And that Briar Creek, is that in yours or mine?
I don't know, I haven't been communicated with on this.
what roads are they crossing?
Briar Creek.
They're going 400 Briar Creek and 400 Indian Mound.
But on the south side of Indian Mound, Briar Creek Road, belongs to precinct 1. On the north side of Indian Mound, on Briar Creek Road, belongs to precinct 4.
I believe they're going down the south side, if I understood that right, the south side of Indian Mound Road from 1769 all the way around 380.
We're gonna cross Indian Mound, and get back over on the north side of here, towards the steel.
Both of those road crossings appear to be in precinct number 4.
And then they're gonna cross it twice. Indian Mound twice.
Cross it back down on 380, near 380.
That's gonna be what we're talking about down there, yeah.
So they're going to cross back to the east side of Indian Mound.
It's gonna go around Indian Mound.
I'm talking about Indian Mound 380.
Well, they just said it's gonna cross Indian Mound twice. So that'd be the only way it would do.
Is that what is that what,
What they have here and what they're gonna do is gonna be two different things, probably.
I just understood they go underneath Indian Mound, right there on the northwest, where Indian Mound comes up at Mason Corner. They go under Indian Mound Road to the west side of Indian Mound and go all the way into 380. I'm not sure what it does. I don't know that it does anything. Intersection 380. Precinct 3 was difficult to understand reading his directions.
Yeah, his written direction on precinct 3.
This is part of the study, gentlemen, we need to put into these permits when we're asked to make sure that we understand exactly where these locations are and what they're doing. When are they gonna start this work? Anybody have any idea?
And, we'll make that.
I would recommend we maybe take a ride out and look at what they're talking about, try to locate these locations like we should do, maybe not extend these permits until our next meeting. If there, as long as there, I don't think there's any time limit involved, is there?
No, except
No rush that they have to be done right now.
when they start, they're gonna go on. I don't imagine they'll hold up.
Whether we get permits to them now.
It's a public utility. They're regarded as a public utility and they're gonna do it.
They sure taking down our right of ways, they got every reason to do that, it's the board, that we got permit privilege over.
Yeah, they're gonna find out down at Indian Mound Road, it's gonna be ugly on that deal. I promise you.
Look at the rock.
It ain't the rock, it's that many different oil lines just
Oh,
coming down in there, water lines, gas lines.
That being said, you know, we don't need to stand and label up the copper being done and then pay us for all the permits. You know, I suggest we just go ahead and
I'm not sure that they have.
issue permits. Stacy, you're the guy that got most skin in this game. Your precinct.
I don't know that we legally can stop them. We're just gonna have to give them graces and take their money and go on.
Is that a motion?
Pretty much.
I'll second your motion.
Let's get out of here.
But you know, we discussed this with the auditor before when we started this process, this money, those crossings, that $500 needs to go back in our road and bridge. I don't know how we can do it, but it needs to be done.
Well, we discussed it, it went back into each one of our precincts.
Right.
It's what we had designed, because we're the one doing the work.
Right.
Since they messed up on Indian
It's a
Mound.
nightmare getting the auditor to give it back in there.
Hey, Jimmy, since they messed up on Indian Mound, it goes to me and you mess with
Is
our.
it done?
We just put it in there.
Well,
Put it in the revenue.
Just put it in revenue.
you can put it in revenue, but.
It's in your revenue.
There's revenue, but
That's why we have to know whose each one is, how much money is supposed to go.
Yeah,
it's improper to move from there back into the expense accounts, other than a budget amendment. And that being an emergency amendment, because it's going to increase the expenditure budget on the bottom line.
So if you had to have it to work on something, but it's in your revenue.
That's what I was saying. The amendment and all that.
You think I'm mean? Not that mean.
I think
Do we need to act on each one of these individually?
no, I think you can act on them collectively.
And we'll
I
sort
do
it
think,
out where.
I do think that there's a little clarity there that needs clearing up.
We're not in possession of the money.
Each one of you probably ought to be satisfied. I think you had his email. What, I can't even remember what his name is.
Rick Seymour.
Seymour.
Who has the
Yeah,
check?
who's in possession of the checks?
So,
who has the check?
they're in the office. I think there needs to be a little clarity there with regard to how many road crossings he's gonna have.
Yeah.
It's paid for 7.
Well, we can,
Where are
We can
We can-
hold it until we.
we can put it in there and she can hold it in her,
So you can hold those checks, yeah.
once they get the work done, we can figure out exactly where it went, what it does, and whole 9 yards.
Process is that the check accompanies the permit application, and after we vote on it and approve it, it's either returned or we accept it and put it in our bank account.
I got 4.
Okay, there's
Motion by Stacy, second by me.
Only Road, Stowe Road,
Indian Mountain, Briar Creek.
Which part of the road is crossing?
Hutchins.
Hutchins?
Hutchins. Evidently, they were waiting for Hutchins Road too.
There's a lot of things in the
Going
ditches.
under Hutchins,
Yeah.
114.
Yeah, that's its
I tore up a water line, and cut phone line 4 times last week.
How'd that work?
Worked out. They found their line.
Please.
It's too shallow, wasn't it?
You think?
I guess some of them there off Russell Road, they're not that deep. Phone line.
Some big on top. I keep getting the water lines. Fort Belknap, man. Keep them busy.
You on a first name basis?
Yeah.
Prepared?
Now that I'm fair, guess what? We're at it.
All right, they got it.
Then we put that together, and that's, didn't have all of them listed there. We have one on, I don't know if that crosses Young, we've got Young Road, or LC Young,
Just goes down here.
Briar Creek, Indian Mound, Alney Road, C Stowe Road, and Hutchins Road.
What's on Bunker?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, still one short.
I guess again.
There's 6, they've sent in $6,000, sent in $3,000.
He said all the roads crossing twice, so that, I mean, Indian Mountain crossed twice, so that means that Indian Mountain Road is satisfied for 2 different ones? Yeah.
Would be said.
Well,
We'll bore under Briar Creek Road and continue, then when Indian Mountain turns south, we'll continue south along the east side, and then we'll go under Indian Mountain Road, continue along the west side of it, upon arriving to the north corner of Indian Mountain. And then we will end the permit.
permits, let's see, we'll continue west.
Only Hutchins and Stowe was all on the same permit.
Along, yeah, along the south side of Indian Mountain Road, or I think it's road, their permit, and I'll take that, that's a state permit. It's from 1769. They'll start at the southwest corner of Indian Mound Road and 1769. And they'll go
Southwest corner.
so
South side.
I don't know, not really determined whether they go underneath that road, that's where they're beginning. It sounds like it's on the southwest corner, which would be on the south side of Indian Mountain Road at 1769 and go west. And then we'll continue.
When they get to Briar Creek, they go under Briar Creek, keep going west.
They'll go underneath Briar Creek and then underneath Indian Mound and head south along the west side. And then the permit when they get to 380. Anyway, okay. We've got a motion by Rogers. Who's got a second? Pruitt. To approve road crossings as submitted by Fiberline. favor? Carried, no opposition. Okay. Item number 20. C. Turd. Got an email from Commissioner Sipes here with regard to nominations on the advisory committee. And a prospective zone, number 1. Does anybody else have a prospective zone?
I do.
I got a prospective project.
Yeah, I'm saying pretty much respect the project.
And a committee member.
Remember, we don't need more than one zone. 5, I believe, isn't it? Just 5 members of that?
Yes.
Yes. If I remember, I think the bill stated that county judge made the nominations to the commissioner's court. Kind of asked y'all to submit me some names, one primary and one secondary. And I'll submit back to them your primary and pick one out of the log 4 to be the 5th member. Or y'all can vote on that member or straw poll, whoever you'd like to be on there, the 5th member.
Judge wants to nominate a fifth member, that's fine.
Well,
I like your two that you got.
I'll nominate him out of your second choices.
Oh, I got one choice, he's agreed to.
You're proposing a zone on Rocky Mountain?
Yes,
Is that right? With,
all the way through to, 2075.
McIntyre.
Up McIntyre to,
16?
to the other way. That short jag to 2075.
2075.
Yeah.
Check station road.
Yes. Fish Creek Road, whatever it's
Check station.
called. The right of ways and those.
Or are you proposing that just for the right of way width?
Just the right of way. I just inserted those names per the language that Jim Allison had sent us as far as making it as simple as possible without adding someone's personal property into it, where we wouldn't have to worry initially about tax increments. The tax increment on that would be 0.
They had us a deadline February 14th or something.
7. Jim is at a hearing trying to extend,
Yeah, I've got.
but he doesn't guarantee that,
So
so.
I got an email the other day, said they probably wouldn't want, it's not guaranteed till.
But it would be best, I think, if we were first in line, showing them we have our stuff together.
So do you got like a price figure too on yours already, or
I got a,
ballpark?
I got a square footage or square yard number from that little that did yours.
Yes, I got Chris to do mine too.
And, just figure out the road length and right of way, I mean, your road width, and you,
Are y'all going to any of those text dot meetings?
we went to that text dot meeting, it was in Vernon, you was there, weren't you?
Yeah, but they're having a little.
But they had them to give us an email the day before the meeting.
There's one tomorrow in Henrietta.
In Henrietta?
One in Alabama.
There's one in Middleborough. Yeah, it's designed to help you figure those projects.
You did, don't do it, so that's like when you call, on a worksheet. You can go to
The
it.
worksheet, I can figure, I can figure those off the worksheet.
I left it in the pickup, but it's got a worksheet with Texas averages on the prices.
Did you go to one of the meetings? Well, all we need is a sheet that you've got, really, to figure our projects.
Yeah, it's got estimated cost, it's got a line in there, about 25% plus. So, yeah, got that figured in.
Whatever you get, give us a copy.
we ready to do that? This meeting's gonna be on the 23rd of January?
You have a,
It's,
what's that on, where you going?
Midland Chapel.
Is that easy?
One end to the other?
Yeah, 4.13 miles.
That's all what you're doing?
I got several.
Yeah, we got to say about
9. I don't know. I was gonna use Ronnie, but he used.
The two that, we both agreed on those two.
I'm gonna talk to Keith Perry.
Willard, 1.9 miles.
Jeff could email you a list of ones like that.
I don't know, I got more than just one.
I got one too.
You got perspective on it?
Any man,
All of it,
just the pavement right now.
just on this payment board? Yeah. That's the east-west section. Willard Road. Have perspective on 1 mile, board members?
I'll figure it some way.
Okay. That's gonna be your, I assume your projects also.
Document.
You got any other projects?
I'm gonna do Flat Rock Road to the county line.
Yeah, I've got no.
Somebody that does the,
I'm gonna do North Bend.
So does Lower Compton.
I got Shepherd Lane,
finest road from the end of the pavement till that 91.
I got a lot. I got a lot on my list.
Shepherd Lane, True Road.
All I've got, I'll still traffic.
I'm just gonna email him my list.
Yeah.
It'd probably be easier.
Anything else that you want to discuss or consider with regard to the C-Turks?
Is everybody pretty much on schedule?
Yeah.
Where are we on schedule?
I think so. The next meeting, the 27th, that will be the creation of the zones. I mean, we could technically do it a few days earlier than that, but that's regular meeting. And at the same time comes the appointment of the advisory board. There can be an advisory board collectively for all of it, or there can be an advisory board for each one of the projects, each one of the enterprise zones. So, I'm assuming everybody just wants.
Do we want to do one zone or do we want to do one in each precinct? How do you want to do that?
You can use one zone, use everything else as projects.
The simpler we keep it, the better off it is.
I'm kind of with you there.
We don't want money to water it when we have to.
The C-turns being off on another part of the county doesn't alleviate you from being able to do your project.
That's where I understood it. All you gotta know is there's one.
But there's one in the county.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't get left down.
Well,
Me either,
me too. I understand.
Mine.
Well, if you feel better about putting C-turns in each precinct, that's fine with me too.
Just around that project.
What did they say at the meeting?
Around your number one project.
They said nothing about this,
So,
All of
this
it.
correct, for Middle Chapel Road.
this project.
C-turns from 67 south to wherever you want to stop.
Have y'all ready? We can discuss funding, or adding, we're allotted a minimum amount of funding. That might be more. We're gonna look at individual projects, or do you just want to split the money up forward?
I think that we would probably have less complications if we split the money by 4. Is that okay with y'all? I need more than y'all do, but that's okay if y'all take something.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, listen. What I want to do, if this is possible, like, let's say my cost, I'm just throwing it, $50,000, and it's gonna cost me more than that. and I have this X amount of dollars left over, can I give it to one of you guys to use this, so we can use it all, or use it all, you know what I'm saying?
What I would do is just take what you had, since you have more than one project,
Right.
use it as far as it'll go
On any of
on any of your projects,
Okay.
okay? And then let's pray that when some of these other counties cut back some of their money, that we have an opportunity.
You all let you have your $35,000 or whatever.
Yep.
That's on the problem.
The lady that gave my course that I went to, she said, figure your project's way over and above what you're allotted for. And they're gonna approve these projects based on, don't know what criteria.
Yeah, how do they prove
It
it?
might be a $10,000 project and you're only allowed 5,000, but they're gonna approve it. But then you gotta spend that money and turn in your receipts. So it's a nightmare.
This is not gonna be,
It's not well thought out.
this is not gonna be good.
I won't answer.
You're not gonna get paid first, you're gonna spend the money and then request reimbursements. Those reimbursements will be no more than once a month when that begins. So, you know, it's like all of these government grant funds, you're gonna have to spend it.
Maybe not projects and bites and juices.
But how do they figure that my project's any more important than your project? Or vice versa, you know what I'm saying?
That's right, we divide money in people, and those prioritize there.
Because to me, mine's more important than yours, and yours is more important than mine.
You're wrong, they don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
And
We all think-
I don't want to get into that discussion.
Right, we all think ours is important.
Well, and you should, it's the same, it's a little different to what it is when we do cost matching on our bridges. You know, and that's what they first talked about, and it's the same kind of deal, but.
Email, which came out, January the 7th. It's a question, David Neal, county judge, that asked the question, Jim Allison, and Jim Allison said, yeah, you can make that enterprise zone with the road, but they're talking about parcels, taxing parcels. Said it, let's see, to avoid an issue whether you can appoint advisory commission, the secretary has not been created. But Judge Neal, while the county may preliminary name the secretary's advisory committee, the appointment should also be included in the order creating the secretaries to avoid the issue whether you can appoint. Well, that's not the one I want. Also one, I believe it's the next one. The legislature did not specify the minimum boundaries of the sectors, leaving this determination to the Commissioner's Court. The Commissioner's Court must describe the boundaries of the zone with some definitiveness to identify with ordinary and reasonable certainty the territory included in the zone. This does not require a survey of meets or bounds. For example, you may use parcel numbers in adjacent right-of-ways such as Jones County search number 1 encompasses the right-of-way of County Road 204 from its intersection with County Road 107 to its intersection with State Highway 14 and the following adjacent parcels as described in the appraisal road. And that's just an example.
I'm putting a period on mine after the Highway 14.
It said the legislature did not specifically require that any private property be included in the search, although it may be prudent to include some.
I'm sure in some places that might be true.
Not mine.
We can. A little more complicated next year, Ken.
Yeah. I believe this is Neal's county judge. I believe Jones County.
Texas.
Anything else you want to discuss with regard to sectors? Big no action. Okay, any burn restrictions?
I'll tell you what, we have another day like we had Sunday, be something we need to be thinking about. We got a
We had a pretty good fire going.
Well, we've got people that are, they're not looking at the weather thinking we'll burn these brush piles today. Saturday was beautiful.
Not considering the winds blowing 500 mile an hour.
Saturday was beautiful. Wind wasn't blowing. But Sunday, when the wind turned around out of the north, out of the south, it looked like it did. Wasn't good. City has a little project with that already, Sunday morning.
Won't take any action regarding burning Christmas. All right. Entertain the idea of adjourn.
So moved.
Commissioner, motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Rogers to adjourn. Is there any opposed to such? Heard, passed 5, so.
I thought he was asleep.
You couldn't use that chair for a desk.